There is a massive variety of horror films available on Amazon Prime Video. These films range from low-budget gems to high-budget blockbusters, and they cover a wide range of genres, from silly creature features to deep psychological thrillers. Within this video, we will discuss the top 10 most terrifying horror films that are currently accessible on Prime Video. Number 10. The Collector.
My family's in here.
The Collector is a horror thriller video game that was released in 2009 and features a lot of gore and fascinating traps. Throughout the course of the narrative, Aaron, a man who intends to rob the safe of an affluent family in order to pay off his ex-wife's debt, serves as the protagonist. On the other hand, when he breaks into the house, he finds out that it has been penetrated by a vicious killer who goes by the name The Collector. All members of the family are being held captive, and the house has been set up with lethal traps. Aaron is tasked with navigating these perils, confronting the Collector, and working toward the goal of saving the family, all while simultaneously ensuring his own longevity. Number 9. Abigail.
What the fuck?
By deftly combining elements of horror, comedy, and gruesome action, Abigail creates a bloody good time for her audience. The story revolves around a bunch of kidnappers who come to the conclusion that they have struck gold when they kidnap the daughter of a powerful figure in the criminal underground in exchange for a ransom of $50 million. On the other hand, they quickly realize that they have received a great deal more than they had asked for. Although she is represented by Alicia Weir, Abigail is not a typical victim. Rather, she is a vampire, as she turns the tables on her captors and hunts them down with frightening precision. The film reimagines the classic story of Dracula's daughter, which was originally told in 1936, and injects new life into the horror genre. In spite of the fact that some of the turns appear to be obvious from the trailers, Abigail still manages to pack a punch for horror aficionados by introducing an unexpected amount of humor while maintaining a balance of tension. Number 8. Men.
It feels more like...
Haunted.
Yeah.
Men is a psychological horror film directed by Alex Garland that is not just strange, but also eerie and unsettling all at the same time. Harper is a woman who is in grief and is looking for peace and quiet in the English countryside. On the other hand, she is being pursued by a number of terrifying male figures, all of whom are represented by Rory Canner. The character of Harper, who is searching for peace and quiet, is portrayed by Jessie Buckley. There are a number of aspects that add to the film's horrible mood from the very beginning, including a dark cinematography, a spooky sound design, and an overwhelming sense of discomfort. The combination of elements of surreal horror, folk horror, and a feminist point of view is executed in a very powerful manner. Men, on the other hand, has already pushed itself to such an extreme degree of the weird that it almost loses sight of its more deep message by the time it reaches its conclusion, which is both horrifying and mind-bending. Number 7. A Quiet Place, Day 1. In A Quiet Place, Day 1, we are taken back to the horrifying beginnings of the alien invasion that occurred in the first episode of the series. The science fiction horror thriller that takes place in the middle of New York City is both a spin-off and a prequel to the film that was originally directed by John Seske. Samira and Eric are the protagonists of this drama, which recounts their battle to survive the tumultuous initial hours of the attack, during which every noise and every sound could spell death. The streets of the city, which are now filled with terror and panic, gradually transform into a perilous maze, and the only way for them to survive is to remain silent. Horror and the suspense of a city under siege are both elements that are incorporated into the picture, which was directed by Michael Sorosi and co-written by Chinsky. This story is brought to life by Lupita Nyong'o, who delivers a performance that is both emotionally and physically compelling. Number 6. Blink Twice.
Heather? Camilla? Later. What's up, man?
I don't know who that is.
This is Zoe Kravitz's debut as a director, and it is just jaw-dropping. It combines the vibes of Get Out and Shutter Island. The narrative focuses on Frida, a cocktail waitress who is portrayed by Omaki. Frida's life takes a dramatic turn once she meets Slater King, a charming tech tycoon who is portrayed by Channing Tatum. Frida and her closest friend Jess, who is portrayed by Aaliyah Shawkat, are invited to Slater's private island, which is a tropical paradise that offers luxury and escape. This invitation comes after an initially turbulent yet charming encounter between the two of them. Frida begins to have the impression that something is not quite right with their host and the island itself, which causes what initially appears to be a perfect vacation to swiftly turn into a nightmare when she arrives. Omaki and Tatum both give outstanding performances, and the tension builds up in such a seamless manner that, before you know it, you are utterly captivated by the content. The plot of this movie is not about any unexpected turns. Rather, it is about how things develop. Number 5. Dr. Sleep.
But the things that live there.
Dr. Sleep, the long-awaited sequel to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, was finally released in 2019, some 40 years after the film's initial release, which horrified moviegoers. This adaptation of Stephen King's follow-up novel, which was directed by Mike Flanagan, bridges the gap between King's vision and Kubrick's renowned film from 1980. An adult Danny Torrance, who is still plagued by his horrific experience at the Overlook Hotel, is the protagonist of this story. He is confronted by a deadly cult known as the True Knot, which is led by the merciless Rose the Hat, who is portrayed by Rebecca Ferguson. This cult preys on youngsters who have psychic skills. An alliance is formed between Danny and a young girl named Abra, who possesses extraordinary psychic abilities and is therefore a target. Dr. Sleep is a film that pays homage to Kubrick's classic while also delivering a plot that is riveting. It combines supernatural horror with a fierce conflict between good and evil character. Number 4. Oculus.
We got a new home, so we get new furniture.
It's a bit ostentatious though, don't you think?
Oculus takes things to the next level by offering a mirror that interacts with reality itself. However, if the concept of haunting dolls and cursed boxes gives you the creeps, then you should know that Oculus takes things to the next level. Kay, who is portrayed by Karen Gillan, and Tim, who is portrayed by Brenton Thwaites, are siblings in this supernatural horror thriller that was directed by Mike Flanagan. Both actors provide their performances in the film. Throughout the course of the movie, we follow them as they work together to confront the cursed antique that was responsible for the disintegration of their family. Kaylee devises an experiment that includes cameras, alerts, and even a fatal failsafe, since this mirror does more than just haunt you. It also twists your mind until you destroy yourself. In order to accomplish this, she devises an experiment. Until the very end of the movie, Oculus keeps you guessing about what's real thanks to its eerie visuals and some horrifying psychological terror. That moment with the fingernail, ouch. Number 3. The House of the Devil.
I feel a little weird just dropping you out here in the middle of wherever we are.
In 2009's The Mansion of the Devil, the protagonist, Samantha Hughes, is a college student who is struggling financially and decides to take a job that appears to be a basic babysitting job in an isolated and eerie mansion. Samantha is informed that she will be responsible for the care of their elderly mother-in-law after being hired by the peculiar Ullman family. However, as the night goes on, it becomes abundantly evident that there is a great deal more going on than might initially appear. Samantha discovers the terrible secret that the Ullmans are involved in, which is that they are members of a satanic cult, and she has been conned into participating in their evil ritual during a lunar eclipse. As the movie progresses, the suspense increases as Samantha's struggle to survive becomes more intense. She is caught in a dangerous game that she did not sign up for. Number 2. The Exorcist.
Is there someone inside you?
Sometimes.
Who is it?
I don't know.
The Exorcist, which was released in 1973, is widely considered to be one of the most famous horror films of all time. Reagan, a young girl who is possessed by a demonic power, is the main character in this story. Her mother, who is in a precarious situation, seeks the assistance of 2 priests in order to obtain an exorcism, which is her last hope. It is a conflict between trust and uncertainty, as well as between good and evil, and it is well known for the shocking and unsettling sequences that it contains. To this day, 50 years after its initial nomination for the Academy Award for Best Picture, it continues to be regarded as one of the most famous pictures that have ever been produced. It was the very first horror film to ever receive such a nomination. In The Exorcist, there are no cheap jump scares. Rather, the experience is one of pure psychological horror that stays with you for a very long time, or perhaps for a very long time. It is without a doubt a masterpiece. Number 1. Rosemary's Baby.
It's alive!
Rosemary's Baby, a horror classic that was released in 1968, is still remarkably effective despite the fact that it is nearly 40 years old. Rosemary, a young wife, and her husband move into an apartment in New York City. The film follows Rosemary as she makes this transition. Everything appears to be normal at first glance. However, things take an unexpected turn when she finds out that she is pregnant, and unique interest in her life is shown by her new neighbors, the Covates, who are known for their extremely kind nature. During the course of the pregnancy, Rosemary begins to have worries that something is extremely wrong with the pregnancy. Polanski does an excellent job of building up the tension, and then you find yourself wondering what is real and what is just Rosemary's imagination. The film Rosemary's Baby does not rely on cheap scares to get under your skin. Rather, it uses its spooky atmosphere and subtle horror to accomplish this. The portrayal of psychological trauma that Mia Farrow gave is one that will undoubtedly stand the test of time.